Wanted to talk to you, bringing up a lot of stuff that we've been talking about today already with the Somali migration crisis. This has led to Donald Trump talking about banning migration from third world countries. I think he's listed 19 countries so far. Tell us about what he's talking about here. Do we know what countries are named? What are the implications for this? And how is it being received?
Well, it's being received in different ways, right? People have different opinions about what Trump has said. Obviously, some people think his rhetoric on this is too strong, while others, especially his supporters, are saying that this is what they voted for. His strong reaction to migration really came after what happened to the National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C., where they were shot over the holiday weekend of Thanksgiving. And we learned out it was an Afghani who was a migrant here. And we also learned some things about how this migrant was having a hard time assimilating, and supposedly he had a clean record and so on. And so this kind of goes along with a lot of the headlines we've seen over the past year, if you will, where there are so many immigrants, migrants who, some of them are here legally, some of them illegally, who are committing crimes. And we're also learning a lot about the people who are using the safety nets here, if you will. So we've been told that migrants are a net positive on this country. But if that's the case, then why are so many of them using government assistance, aka money that is paid for by the taxpayer? So, there needs to be a huge conversation about immigration, migration. And this is one of the main reasons why President Trump got elected. And so American people are looking for action and definitely a response to some of the things that we've seen so far. So if people aren't contributing, they shouldn't be here. This is America, the best country in the world, and we shouldn't have to accept people from the third world if they're not willing to assimilate and contribute.
Well, look, I don't think you're going to get a lot of people disagreeing with you on that. And obviously, Donald Trump's big platform coming in was fix that southern border. And he did that very, very well. But what are Trump people saying to some of the criticism that the left is bringing up now that says, well, this is a new distraction here. It's a distraction technique. Let's get everybody angry about migrants when there's economic figures and economic numbers that aren't all that hot in some areas of the economy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's a distraction. This is a concern that people have had for a long time, right? And this was one of the drivers for the election and electing President Trump. With that being said, when you have migration at these levels and illegal immigrants coming through, that does have an effect on our economy, right? So let's talk about legal migration. So Americans are going to have to compete with migrants for jobs, right? We're going to have to compete for housing and so on. And then when it comes to illegal immigration, if you talk about the crime and the cost of dealing with that in some of these areas, I mean, it all has an impact on our communities. And so, yes, the housing and our economy needs to be addressed, and it is being addressed. But again, migration adds to that.
Indeed. Hey, another part of the economy, too, that is going to change now is a change in what are called the CAFE standards. It's basically the fuel efficiency standards for vehicles. And the Trump administration this week announced that they are repealing the Biden-era federal fuel economy standards, which would have basically made it almost impossible to keep producing petroleum, gasoline-powered vehicles. They're going to weaken these efficiency requirements, and people are already saying, Ford has already said, this is great, we can make a lot more new vehicles that are affordable. But here's what President Trump said when announcing this.
It put tremendous upward pressure on car prices, combined with the insane electric vehicle mandate. Biden's burdensome regulations helped cause the price of cars to soar more than 25%. And in one case, they went up 18% in 1 year. Today, we're taking one more step to kill the Green New scam. It's part of the greatest scam, probably, well, other than Russia, and a few others I could name. The greatest scam in American history, the Green New scam.
Stephanie, this is great news for American drivers. Am I correct? And does this mean that they'll also be able to take out those stupid little buttons you have to push so that the car doesn't turn off when you get to a red light?
Yeah, those are so annoying, aren't they? I will say I love electric vehicles. I drive a Tesla Cybertruck. But with that being said, I don't think that electric vehicles should be forced onto the American people. it's like a fantasy. When this first went through, it's like forcing people to buy a unicorn, if you will. A lot of people are just struggling to get by, pay their bills, and then to think that they can afford expensive electric vehicles, have the places to charge them, have the ability to use those on a day-to-day basis, right? Those are things that people need to think of. And it's like not every apartment complex, not every housing has the ability to have these electric chargers for vehicles. If you're going on long distance trips, think about how many times you have to stop. I've taken my Cybertruck on an 8-hour road trip and I had to stop several times to charge the vehicle. It's not for everybody. So I think the Trump administration did good on this, and was one of their promises. It's supposedly supposed to save about $110 billion over time. And so again, it's not that people don't want renewable, efficient energy and that they don't want to drive electric vehicles. It's just impossible. It's an impossible task, an impossible goal. And the government shouldn't be funding all of these programs anyway. So if electric vehicles and this renewable energy is so great, then let the market play itself out. You don't have to force the American people to subsidize electric vehicles.
Thank you, Stephanie. So well said. Hey, finally, before I let you go, this story here was absolutely hilarious to me. Now, you remember all those celebrities who said they would leave America and never come back if Donald Trump won? Well, guess what? At least one of them was lying. And I know this is a surprise, but it has been revealed that one of those celebrities, Ellen DeGeneres, has moved back to the States, or is moving back to the States after moving to Great Britain in protest and outrage. Stephanie, should we even be surprised at this hypocrisy?
Not surprised at all. I'm actually maybe just like a tiny surprise that she didn't come back sooner. But we've seen these celebrities do this over and over again. It's so embarrassing. So they did it in the first election, and then all of them came back. And then the second election, so many of them said they were leaving the country. Many of them started trickling back. And, it's not a surprise that she's coming back too. I mean, she resided in California where the weather is awesome. So one of the complaints was that the weather's tough there. It's too cold, too dreary. So they're coming back. Well, you don't really need to come back to the US for that. I mean, you can go to, Mexico or somewhere else on the beach, somewhere warm in the country or somewhere else in the world. You don't have to come back to the US. So essentially, this kind of gives credit to President Donald Trump. And that is, his presidency is not that bad, because if it was bad, these celebrities wouldn't come back. They know that there have been no human rights violations. They know that the country is under good hands when it comes to President Donald Trump. And so that's why they're eager to come back.
Stephanie Hamill, thank you so much for joining me.